All right, welcome back, guys. So we are finally ready to start putting some pieces on. The first piece we're going to put on is the set of 3 trapezoids. There's a reason behind that. It just helps everything line up when you're putting on the guide, putting everything on, and then taking the guide back off to keep it from snagging any parts or getting glue on it, etc. So one thing about using these machine cut styrene pieces, when you pull them off of the sheet and you feel them, you will notice that one side has a lip, a very small, rough-edged lip where the machine cut them. Okay? The other side will be very smooth. The smooth side is the side that you want facing outward or displayed. The underside with the lip is what you're going to put the glue on. Okay? I specifically place these shiny side down so that the matte finish is what shows outwards. So we're going to glue the side that has the lip on it. Always remember that. Okay? So you've got your ball and you've got your jig placed in the correct hole. The next thing you're going to do is get your set of 3 trapezoids, and let's see if I can drop the, there we go, set of 3 trapezoids, and you're going to put a tiny drop of glue in the center of each one. You just want a tiny drop of glue on the center of each one. If you put too much, it's going to leak out and you're going to stick your thumb to it. And it's going to be a huge mess. So just a tiny drop about that size in the center of each trapezoid. Okay, and you're going to hold them by the edges. With your other hand, grab the jig, line it up. You've already marked your center hole where it needs to go. Pull it snug. Make sure it's balanced and not warped one way or the other. That's kind of centered. And you're going to simply just lay your set of 3 trapezoids along that bottom ridge and just touch it there for a second by holding onto the middle one with your finger just for a couple of seconds. Okay? As soon as it's kind of in place, take your guide off, and you're going to use your thumbs to gently push straight down on the outside too. These little spine here to hold them spaced is perfect for holding them in the right position, but you can accidentally shift them out of parallel with each other. So since it's going around a curved surface, kind of want to follow that curve with the pressure of your thumbs so that they maintain being parallel with each other in terms of this inside spacing. Okay, so if a little bit of glue drops out, it's okay. Bob Ross, man, it's okay. Happy little accidents. Carbon scoring. All right, so press it down, make sure it's tight. Okay, so now we're good with that part. The next step is we're gonna add the tank track. Okay, so the way the tank tracks go on the top and the way that they go on the bottom is different. If you want super accuracy, follow these instructions. If you don't care, just stick them on. But what you're going to do is you're going to put this back on and you're going to stick them on facing up the top edge of this guide here. All right. But the way it works on the top half is you'll see the tank track has one side has 4 prongs, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the other side has 5 prongs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so think of it as a 4 and a 5. You get a 4 side and a 5 side. On the top half, the similar sides point towards each other. So you'll have a 4, and then the next one will have a 4 facing the opposite direction so that the 4s point towards each other. Whereas on this side, it's got a 5, so this next one's going to have a side with a 5 facing each other. So it basically alternates going 4 to the left, 5 to the left, 4 to the left, 5 to the left. So the way I like to do this is you put your guide back, line it back up with your center hole that you've already marked, double check everything, and you're gonna put a small line of super glue about like that, and you're gonna give it a little bit of space for bleeding out this way and a little bit of space for bleeding out the bottom. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the side of 4 on the left, so that way I know it goes 4, 5, 4, 5, okay? So I'm gonna put this flat down on the glue, and I'm going to butt it up against the top edge, and I'm gonna push down with my other finger to kind of curve the track along the curve of the ball. This tank track is flat and it is being glued onto a curved spherical surface. These 3D printed parts are quite rigid when you cure them. So what I do is I specifically do not fully cure this one section of model pieces. I do that so that the tank tracks are flexible and that they bend instead of crack. Okay, I do this on purpose to make it so that you can press these tank tracks down, bend them, one finger here, your thumb here, push straight down, and it'll curve it along that curved spherical surface. Okay, so one of the things that you had to think about ahead of time, these are not cured fully so that they bend. All right, so you've got your tank track, you've got your trapezoids, and we need to now put the baffle. So right here at the top, there's a little small half circle. Put you a tiniest little dot. That's probably even a little too big, but a small dot right there on that circle. You're gonna grab your baffle. The baffle is tapered. The wider side goes down. It tapers up to upwards to a smaller diameter. With your baffle, when you pull these off, you're probably going to have some little burrs from the support material. If you've got your little mat, put your baffle the right way on the thing, put your finger down and drag it across and just knock those little pegs off. It makes it nice and smooth. That way you don't have to keep sandpaper. If you want to sand every piece, you can. This is plenty. Just put it down here and rub it a few times and you're good. You got your bead of glue. Place it on your globe and push it down so that it lines up with that semicircle, and just hold it for a few seconds. Okay, and then you're going to carefully remove your guide. That is the purpose of this guide, is to get these 3 pieces going. Okay. So we're going to do the exact same thing to the other 4, or to the other 3 sides on the top. And remember, if you did 4 on the left here, the next one's going to be 5 on the left. I like to do opposites first because it helps align them up. So if I go turn it 180 degrees and do the exact opposite, now I can bring this guy up all the way flush with the top of that tank track and line it up, and make sure that I'm not only lining it up with the mark that I made, but lining it up with the center of the tank track from the previous one. It just makes it a lot easier. Okay, so we're gonna do that one next. And then if you want a little bit of a quick shortcut trick, go ahead and do your tiny dot for your baffle and your line for your tank track. Take your baffle first, put your baffle on, put it down into the groove, hold it for 1, 2, 3, let go. Take your next tank track. Should have cut these off ahead of time, sorry. Now, we did 4 to the left, 5 to the left. This one's going to be 4 to the left again, okay? So I'm going to do 4 to the left, and then carefully remove our guide. When you pull your guide off, if it's caught under the lip of something, you don't want to pull and pop it off, so you hold your piece down and then pull the guide off around it, okay? So now we have 2. All right, I'm going to do the last 2 exactly the same way. And now this time, since I've got 2 pieces on, I've got 3 points of reference. I've got my mark that I've put, and then I can also find exactly the halfway point between these 2 guys. So if I find my mark and I find that it's a little bit closer to this side, I can just adjust it a little bit. Bob Ross. If you do this, it's going to be lined up way better than the original prop. So don't stress about these tiny differences being misaligned. When you get done, you will never be able to tell. All right, so there's my guide, just prepping it. Here we go. Now, what you should be left with on the top half of your ball is you should have 3 trapezoids, a little baffle, and then your tank tracks. And your tank tracks should alternate 4 prongs to the left, 5 prongs to the left, 4 prongs to the left, 5 prongs to the left, okay? That's what you want. We're gonna be doing almost exactly the same thing to the bottom side. The only difference is the way you orient the tank tracks. On the bottom half, the tank tracks are all 5 to the right. So for the bottom half, just remember 5 to the right. All 4 of them, 5 to the right, 5 to the right, 5 to the right, okay? All right, there we go. That's the first round of greeblies. When you're done, you should have both sides done with tank tracks, baffles, and trapezoids. The top half should go 4, 5, 4, 5 to the left. The bottom half should be all 4 to the left, all 5 to the right. There you go. All right, move on to the next step.